Segment three, the year ahead. Our pundits and panelists, Bob Charles, Lorna Romero, Jessie Armendt. Glad to have them back for a second year in a row. All right, let's look ahead to 2021. Jessie, who will be the Speaker of the House, the Arizona State House?
I don't know, Garrick. And when I saw this question, like that this is going to be on, I have no idea. I don't even know how to begin to answer that question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, Jessie punts. Lorna, who's going to be Speaker of the House?
I think cooler heads will prevail and Rusty Bowers will be the speaker.
Okay, Lorna says Rusty B. Bob?
Yeah, and apparently there was a good meeting, from what I hear, a good meeting late last week between the two camps. I believe Bowers will walk through this. Yeah.
All right. I'm kind of with Jessie. I have no idea. Bob, how will the legislature conduct its business? Remotely, in person? Will they gavel in and then take a multi-week break until things maybe calm down and the vaccine takes hold? What do you think they're going to do down there?
I think it's going to be remotely, kind of like how it ended last session. There's been nothing that I've seen from the legislature, at least from the leadership on both sides, that says, ooh, we're going to take a more cautious approach and we're going to take a break and step back. So I don't think they're going to do that, but they may have a very quick session in which they, handle the budget and that sort of thing. But I think it'll mostly be remote, no people hanging out down there.
Lorna, what do you think? Business as usual or completely different?
It's going to be completely different. Even if Republican leaders wanted to go business as usual, their Democrat colleagues aren't going to participate in that way, or anybody else who feels uncomfortable. I would hope that they decide to go remote if they feel like they need to start, getting to work quickly. I mean, there's a number of different municipalities that have gone remote, and the business of the people still being done. It can happen. I just hope that they're going to be mindful of, staff, general public, their colleagues, whatever they decide to do.
Jessie, Bob and Lorna are often practicing the dark arts back at the office. Bob is at the Capitol on some days. Jessie, you're at the Capitol on most days. So what are you thinking about how the legislature will conduct its business?
I think it's going to be a mix. I mean, I think that the Democrats are going to continue to do meetings virtually and attending committees virtually. I think committees will probably generally have a virtual participation option, but I've talked to enough Republican chairs who fully intend to be meeting in person and without masks. So I don't think the question is, does the legislature come in and gavel out until things calm down? I think, how long till the legislature has to take a break because they've lost their 31st or 16th Republican in one of the chambers to illness and can't get anything done for a little bit. I fully expect that we're going to have some serious lulls in session while outbreaks are managed.
So Jessie, you're thinking perhaps we could be going off and on throughout the session.
I think it's going to be a long session, and there are going to be times when things move very slowly, if at all.
All right, next question. Proposition 208 passed in November by about 51-48, a little bit more than that. Lorna, there's a question though, whether it's constitutional. What do you think is going to happen? Will the court let it stand or strike it down?
Well, first, full disclosure, not a constitutional attorney. I don't know anything about it. So I don't think the court's going to overrule it. I don't see that scenario happening. I mean, it passed overwhelmingly. I understand the argument that they couldn't even litigate the issue until it passed. My assumption is, but I mean, at this point, I just think it's a done deal and people need to move on.
Bob, any sense of whether this thing will live or die?
I was reading some of the Goldwater stuff this morning about it, and I got to say, I'm really hopeful that they might be successful. It looks, I had coffee with a gentleman this morning, he just created a small business about 4 or 5 months ago, and he's told me, hey man, I just wanted to meet up with you because I'm heading out of here. And he gave 208 as a specific reason for why he's getting out of here. The guy is not overwhelmingly wealthy. He's not wealthy. And so my fear about what this could mean for the future of our state as people look to fly over us or to not even businesses go elsewhere. I think from what I read from Goldwater, they've got a pretty strong case, and Timothy Sandfauer is such a great legal mind. I have a lot of hope in him. So we'll see. I'm hopeful.
Jesse, we always, it's always a gamble when we bet what judges are going to do. Any sense of how this one's going to shake out?
Again, I'll echo Lorna's comment, not a constitutional attorney, but I think it's going to stand. And I know this is probably, fighting words given the company, but just like with the minimum wage increase, our economy is going to be okay.
The whole spirit of punditry means you're allowed to spout off on things where you have no expertise. So that's the whole spirit of the show. So don't worry about that. All right, this is one of Bob's favorite questions. Last year, we asked you, would the Arizona Republic continue to publish a paper edition 7 days a week? Jesse was only vaguely aware that they actually published on paper. Lorna said yes, they would publish for calendar 2020. Bob, you said no way. Bob, what do you think happens in calendar 21? Will there be a newspaper, an actual dead tree copy of the newspaper 7 days a week?
I'm sorry, can you first find out who was right last year? Do they still publish on paper?
Yes, 7 days a week.
Look, with they had the unionization plus new ownership, and so I thought there was going to be some things changing, and they didn't. I can't imagine that things have gotten progressively better at the Arizona Republic as far as financially, that they would continue to print every day of the week. But I was wrong last year. I'm not going to be wrong again. They will go another year, all 7 days.
Oh, okay. Lorna, will they continue to print on paper?
Print on paper. That's a great question. I think they will. I think they'll make it through 2021. I think it's a question of what's the Arizona Republic going to look like 2 to 5 years from now, because they're going to have to make some changes. They want to stay afloat.
Yep.
And let's be honest, Garrick, I know you're old school. I don't physically touch a paper, and I haven't done that in 10 years. And so I think I'm in the majority of people where I've seen the news online and then it prints the next day, maybe, or 2 days after. Like, I just don't see the need anymore. But
Yeah, I still get it in my driveway a few days a week. I used to get it 7 days a week, but now I just use my account to read it online. But yeah, I'm old enough to, I'm a former paper boy. I used to like ride a bike and throw papers in people's driveways. So I've got a few years on you guys. Jesse, do you have any opinion on this, knowing that since you're only vaguely aware that they print on paper?
Yeah, I guess if they made it through 2020, then they'll make it through 2021. Sure.
Yeah. I have to wonder. I don't know. You saw that the Salt Lake Tribune earlier this year announced that they were going to go digital. I think it's going to be tough to keep up the infrastructure necessary and the expense to print on paper. I'm more the skeptic. So Bob, I guess you and I are trading spots. We'll see what happens when we get this panel back together in a year. All right. Bob, which politician will begin assembling the team and organizational framework necessary for a statewide candidacy for any office?
Look, we could name probably a dozen names of people that will be doing that. I think the one that I don't know that he will or won't, but I think he's got a mandate now, Sheriff Penzone, coming out as strongly as he did in Maricopa County, the county that you have to carry for statewide office if you're going to win. And the 2016 election, you could chalk it up to anti-Arpaio. The 2020 was a mandate to him from Maricopa County electorates, people saying, we like him, we like what he's doing. So I think it's up to him. Should he do this? I think he'll be successful.
Jesse, which politician is going to stand up a statewide candidacy?
I really like Bob's answer. I'm not going to ditto that, but I hadn't even thought of that. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
It also seems like there's a good chunk of the Republican caucuses in the legislature that think that they're running for Secretary of State in 22. There's so much interest in how that job could have been done better, supposedly. But we'll have to wait and see.
So Jesse, you're saying a state legislator to be named later, but Secretary of State will be the office.
Oh, multiple, I think.
Multiple, okay. All right, Lorna, give us a name. Somebody think is going to start standing up the infrastructure for a statewide run for any office.
yeah, I think the bigger question is who's not going to. I think there's going to be so many people that are in for every statewide office, whether they're currently in the legislature or in Congress. The name author out there is Greg Stanton.
Okay. All right, Lorna says Stanton, Bob says Penzone, Jesse says open up your green book and pick a name. I'll say Andy Biggs. All right.
Wait, what's Andy Biggs going to run for? What do you think?
I won't go there, Bob.
Okay, all right, all right.
We can only speculate. All right, that ends segment 3. But still left under the tree is our pick for Arizonan of the Year. You will have to tune into our next episode, however, for that one. We will see you next time.